Hello. It's been a while since I did a video, just cause, and that's what I want to talk about today. So it's really hit me during this pregnancy that I really struggle with depression when I'm pregnant. And which is funny because like it should have hit me 3 pregnancies ago. The with Elijah, but I guess with the first 2 pregnancies, I I was so busy. I was doing my master's, I was working, I was helping out at a church. I was still trying to be like, I can do everything. And so even though I was depressed and clearly losing it, um, I wasn't self-aware and I ignored it. With this pregnancy, it has come at a time when I've really grown as a person, have done a lot of healing, a lot of self-examination. I'm working through, I'm doing inner healing work for my inner child. And, so I found out I was pregnant in September and I was just like, I'm pregnant, so excited. I've been wanting to be pregnant for over a year. And it wasn't happening because I was nursing Ezekiel, still am, but like he was feeding all the time. So that was like my contraceptive, and nothing was happening. I was just like, let me get pregnant, and nothing was happening. And then I got pregnant and I was super happy. And then a few weeks into the pregnancy, I'm crying all the time. I'm in this really dark, miserable place. Couldn't shake it off. Like just kind of almost, I don't want to say suicidal, but to a point where I was just like, what did I do? What's the point of all of this? Like, just a really dark place where getting out of bed was such a task and still is some days. So I had like, I want to say almost 2 full weeks of this, just this darkness and fatigue. And I know in the first 3 months of pregnancy, you're really exhausted, you're nauseated, you're not yourself. But it was just it was deeper and harder than it's ever been before. With the other 2, I guess because I had to push through, I still had to go to class, I still had to go to work, I still had to do all these other things. I didn't really, I'm the kind of person that's like, if something's expected of me, like I'm there, generally. But this time it's just, I couldn't shake it. Couldn't shake it. And then I woke up one day and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, I think this is, they warn you when you get pregnant and when you have your booking meeting that you have like to be aware of antenatal depression and postnatal depression. Antenatal is when you are pregnant, and then postnatal is after you have your baby. And a lot of people are aware of depression after they have the baby, and it's well documented, and everybody talks about that. But when you're pregnant, it's not as common, or as people don't talk about it. And maybe because you're going through a lot of changes, and so people just assume, oh well. So I was at this place where I'm like, I'm pregnant, I really wanted this baby, but I really, really hate being pregnant. And I really, and then I was just like, what did I do? Which is strange because for over a year, I was just like tormenting Tim to give me a baby, as if he is like God. But yeah, so I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. Yes, you can be excited about being pregnant and still not enjoy being pregnant, and it can be really dark and stressful, and and just kind of like low, like your body is doing things, your hormones are all over the place, like things are happening, and you know, you just have no, like you just can't shake it off. But you can as well. So I want to talk about 2 ways you can come out of or manage antenatal depression and prenatal depression. So what I've been doing, and I'm saying this with knowing that if things get worse, I am open to taking antidepressants. I am open to taking medication. So I guess the second way is taking depression medication, just because depression can be really bad for your baby if you're depressed when you're pregnant. So if I get to a point where I can't manage anymore, I have no problem taking medication. And now I've come to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm open to this. But what I've been doing a lot is a lot of self-care. And so I make sure that I get my sleep, because when I don't get my sleep, like, life is awful for me, for Tim, for the kids. So get my sleep. I make sure that I'm eating well, eating healthy. And then what I've also continued to do and really increased to in doing is walking. So I've been doing between 5 kilometers and 7 kilometers per day, sometimes 10, sometimes 3. Like, it just depends on the day. But for me, I've noticed that if I'm outside, my mental health is great. Whether I'm pregnant or not, my mental health just thrives when I'm outside, walking, talking, playing in the park with my kids, getting out, just being outside. So that has really been helping, and it helps by kind of producing your feel-good hormones, your endorphins and all of that. But I think for me, it's also the fact that I get to see people as well. Even when they don't talk to me, I'm just like, human beings, grown-up human beings. But it's even better when I make plans to meet a friend at the park with their kid as well, where you're social distancing, but you're also able to communicate and talk and be like, hey, and you just find out that you're not alone. Another thing that I've been doing is so sleep, walking, eating healthy, so I'm not giving into my cravings as much. And actually, in my first trimester, I wasn't even giving into any cravings at all, because I was just like I wasn't craving actually as much. I was having a lot of aversions. Now that the cravings are here, I'm like, okay, what can I give into and what can I not give into? So I give in a lot to like savory stuff, and I try not to have as many sweets, because for me, sweets are such a trigger. Yeah, like, I just love sweets, and I'll just eat them for the sake of it, not because they're even doing like, not even because I'm just like I just eat it. And so choose your cravings well. And I notice that when I eat well, I'm not beating myself up mentally. If you've watched my videos before, you will see that I've struggled with like an eating disorder. So if I'm not careful about what I eat, then my mind starts spiraling, and I'm just like, and yeah, it's not great for my mental health. I've started journaling. My journal was in here, it's not here anymore. By the way, do you like my dying flowers? I need to get new flowers. But yeah, I can't think what. Oh yeah, journaling. I've been journaling every day, because it's been helping me most days. I don't want to say every day, because like some days I miss it. Listening to music, just really kind of like really taking care of myself. And then I've also picked up again. I pick it up and then I forget about it. Adult coloring. So I just color, especially the days when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, and my thoughts are really dark. I just color for ages, and ages. And it just helps me to kind of be in the moment, rather than, because what happens with depression and stuff is that you're your brain is stuck in one thing, especially if you've experienced trauma in your life, and you get stuck thinking about those things. So you know, being in the moment, living in the moment, being present helps your neurons and your pathways to kind of move and not trigger the depression. So I've been finding that really, really helpful. So adult coloring, listen, I love it, love it. So I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, I pray, I spend time with God, and the days when I do, like, my life feels so much better. That is not to say that if you're a Christian, you don't experience depression. Clearly not, because I do. But for me, prayer helps manage it. Sometimes there are times when prayer doesn't help, but there are times when it does, and I'm glad that I have that. Yeah, communicating with Tim and just being like, listen, I'm feeling really overwhelmed about this right now, and blah blah blah, and all of that, and he's able to kind of take the load that I need. Another form of self-care, getting that good loving from the hubster. I need that kind of loving. So that really helps, actually, because also you're producing your feel-good hormones when you do that. Yeah, so just wanted to share that, but I wanted to encourage somebody that might be struggling with depression, whether in pregnancy, after pregnancy, or just in depression, that there is hope, and you're not alone, and you're not abnormal. Like, what is normal? I think the world can be overwhelming, and like, it's normal that we feel, and yeah, and things become overwhelming, but also that these feelings and the depression can be managed, and you know, you can manage it. For a lot of people, you know, practicing mindfulness and walking and all that kind of stuff helps. But if it does get to a point where you need your medication, go ahead, take it. There is no shame, there's no condemnation, at least for me, and definitely not from Jesus, because Jesus gets it. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. Have a nice day.